chapter 18. Faith is God's gold. Gold is a soft, corrosion-resistant element and is the most malleable metal on earth. Because of its beauty and its malleable nature, it is used for currency, jewelry, and decoration. It is also used as a term to denote something of great value or goodness. Its chemical symbol is Au, derived from the Latin word aurum, which in translation means glowing dawn. From the birth of mankind at the rivers of Eden, God blessed the earth with a wealth of gold. Genesis 2:10. And from that gold Moses was told to enclose God's covenant in an ark of gold. Exodus 25:10. And from that gold God told Solomon to construct his temple of gold. 1 Kings 7:48. And the magnificence of the golden temple was a glimpse of the glory of the kingdom to come. Revelation 21:18. But with any wealth comes idolatry and greed. And from his covenant God told his people not to construct any idols of gold. Exodus 20:23. And he warned them not to hoard their gold. Deuteronomy 17:17. But what did they do? While Moses was receiving the covenant from God, his people transgressed in sin and idolatry, and constructed and worshipped a calf of gold. Exodus 23:24. And the people in idolatry and greed would hoard their gold and make it their god. Isaiah 46:6. And the amount of gold received in the coffer, 666, would foretell of a curse of its perils. 1 Kings 10:14. For the day will come when their gold will rust, and it will be a witness against them, and it will consume their flesh like fire. James 5:1. And why do we place such value in the material things of this world? And why do we worship like gold the treasures of this world, but not the treasures of God? For Solomon warned that all things on earth would return to the earth, and that all things of the Father would return to the Father, and our bodies would return to the earth, and our souls would return to the Father. Ecclesiastes 12:6. For the body will burn with the earth, and the body of man will be scarcer than gold. Isaiah 13:12. What is the ancient symbol for gold? It is the ancient symbol for the sun god, and God in his mercy promises people that his Son would come to the earth to bring the true gold of God. Isaiah 60:5. And in Bethlehem the prophecy was fulfilled. Matthew 2:11. For the prophets foretold that the Son would come with a belt of pure gold about his waist. Daniel 10:5. And his belt was not the gold of the earth, but a belt of God's faithfulness to man. Isaiah 11:5. For God in his faithfulness sent us his Son, that mankind may be saved. But why do we boast that we have such great faith? The psalmist did not give praise for our faithfulness, but for God's faithfulness to all generations. Psalms 104. And the prophets of old foretold that the princes of earth would bow down because of his faithfulness to man. Isaiah 49:7. And Christ promised by his faithfulness that he would return for all men, for he taught of God's faithfulness to man and gave us great faith in his kingdom to come. Matthew 6:30. And each has been given some faith according to God's own good pleasure, and not out of merit of our own. For our faith is the gift of God. Ephesians 2:8. And Peter said the gift of faith is more precious than gold, for at his return our faith in him will be redeemed with glory and honor. 1 Peter 1:6. Although our faith is a gift from God, it comes at a very great price. For the true fruit of faith is our righteousness. Galatians 3:11. And what is righteousness? It is believing in God regardless of the circumstance. For Abraham was called to sacrifice his son, and Abraham believed God, and it was credited to him as righteousness. Romans 4:3. For when we receive the gift of faith, we become like the Son of God, for we become sons of the Father. Galatians 3:25. But just as Christ accomplished great works, so must we complete the works of the Spirit. James 2:14. For as gold can produce great works of beauty, so faith can produce great works of the Spirit. And just as Christ suffered greatly for his faithfulness, so must we suffer greatly for our faith. But through these trials our faith is perfected, and the promise of the rewards will come, for the time of redemption is soon. Hebrews 11:1. And how is gold refined and tested? It is refined and tested with fire. For the Lord has refined his people with the trials of this earthly existence, and they will be tested by fire. And the Lord will say, they are my people, and they will say, the Lord is my God. Zechariah 13:9. And on that day man's gold will be tested, and the question will be, is your gold the perishable gold of the earth, or the imperishable gold of God's faith and righteousness? 1 Corinthians 3:12. And the rewards will be great for the bride, for they won't enter into the king's palace. Psalms 45:13. And when they have entered the palace, they will bow down to the king, and their prayers will be heard in the heavens. Revelation 5:8. And their prayers will be for the glory of the king, for the salvation of mankind. But for those with the perishable gold of this earth, all will be lost, for the fire will test each man's works. For if any man's work is burned up, he will suffer loss, but he himself will be saved, yet as through fire. 1 Corinthians 3:15. For by his good grace, after each debt is paid, all will be redeemed according to their goal, and all will enter his kingdom of gold. Revelation 14:12. And when the last bowl has been poured, the one who is faithful and true will defeat Satan and death. For he is the Lamb and the Lion, for he is the King of kings and the Lord of